The occult is all about meeting death, which is the hidden one, because death cannot be seen until one has died. When people say Amen at the end of their prayers, they are literally acknowledging the hidden aspect of death. Death is our individual reset point, as compared with the overall reset point of this entire construct. And just like any game, when you hit reset, you start back at the beginning to play the same game all over again. This conjoins the number 22 with the number of paths, 22, that exist in the Sephiroth, or Kabbalah Tree of Life. Many people have experienced what is known as the 1111 phenomenon, which is also correlative of the paradoxical beginning-ending point of this matrix 11 plus 11 equals 22.
That's what's happening at the moment. Another reset.
In truth, the reason that the controllers and archontext of this false reality need to continually readjust this reality with an ultimate reset point is because we are not meant to be prisoners. They are trying to reconcile the great contradiction of freedom and slavery. One can never equal zero, and slavery can never equal freedom, no matter which way it is spun. This is another hidden meaning behind the black and white checkerboard pattern of Freemasonry. They are the complete opposite dualities of good and evil in the paradox of this construct. And another occult meaning of the symbol is that the pattern represents the binary code of this matrix. One is white and on, and 0 is black and off. A matrix is furthermore a mold from which a relief surface is made. This gives another revealing collocation, the fact that relief is acquired for those who have been given surface from the Phoenicians' Archon controllers. For those who are now drowning in the sea of the dead and crying, "Boat us! Boat us!" they are provided relief once they are given surface, as the Latin word boatus tells everyone, with the meaning of shouting, bellowing, roaring, loud crying. That's another sick and hidden meaning behind the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, with the wall symbolizing the walls of the moon, which is the craft that picks up those who are shouting, bellowing, roaring, and crying for a David to bring a boat and save them. The affidavit cry for help from the Savior Star of David, David. In commerce, this is cognate with the term service, because service is surface, and when someone receives a service, they get a feeling of relief. In terms of the dead spirits drowning in the sea of the dead, they are provided with the service of a moon craft to be given surface and liberty, which is a short shore leave. This provides great relief, shown by the anagram of relief, which is re-life. And after life, there is evil, or the mirror opposites of live and evil. They provide relief, re-life, with the craft known as the moon, because they are the controllers of this reality, and they are fishing for spirits by trolling the depths in the sea of the dead. This is why Freemasonry is called the craft. Many corporate symbols also show this aspect of fishing for spirits by using the moon.
There you go. Yeah, there it is, look. Part of the movie industry. Starbucks, look. Fucking all over the gap, mate. It's all in our fucking... It's all in plain sight.
Another anagrammatical word found in dream is mare. Mix up the last 4 letters of reem in dream, and this is how the word mare is found, and this supplies the basis for the horrendous dreams known as nightmares, because the moon is the Trojan horse that was given as a gift to humanity to be taken over by an extraterrestrial race. This was done through a deceptive contract known as marriage, which is practiced unwittingly by the general populace.
Yeah.
The entire poem known as the Iliad, written by Homer, is nothing more than an allegory about the regeneration and rebirth cycle of humanity through the Trojan horse moon construct. The ETs could not defeat humanity, so they created a gift which supplanted a hormonal construct inside the genetic disposition of humanity to manifest their version of the universe onto us, while trapping everyone inside a cyclical rebirth process to be used as food, electrical energy.
It's very clever what they've done. Very clever indeed. It's fucking genius. Obviously, you know, it's dark genius. It's not good genius.
We are now manifesting this reality as shown by the Norse mythology moon god known as Monni, while the Old Norse Icelandic Monni also means moon. This is because the moon creates lunatics, clock ticks while we talk, tick tock, talk, and maniacs, moon alternating currents. The ACs in maniacs is the alternating current of electrical energy that we are creating for the ETs inside the moon construct, and the phonetic ticks in lunatics are the ticks on our lifetime clock that is paradoxically counting down our time while counting up the ticks of metered electrical energy that we produce. This is shown in the Latin word manicula, meaning little hand, denoting the little hand of the moon clock as compared to the big hand of the Saturn timepiece. The moon is the little Trojan horse, as displayed by the Latin manni, translated into English as pony, because the moon pony is the small horse or little hand of the Saturn moon matrix clock construct of timekeeping.
There is it. Symbol for the minute, moon and hour, Satan, Horus, hands on the clock. Stuart McIntosh would like this, he should watch this. I think everyone should watch this guy actually. I think
our energy is sucked out of us as we age through time. And this was the key that the ETs needed to make their matrix energy contract work. As we believe that we are aging, we decay. And the word K from decay quite literally means key, while the Dutch and Norwegian de or d translate as the. Therefore, decay is the key, the Freemasonic key to suck out our energy through the paradox of time that has us divided from our true nature, thinking that we are separate from the very place that we are part of.
Fucking hell, it's deep, man. It's fucking deep. It's like a fucking horror movie, innit?
This belief in division manifests the mental illusions that coerce humanity into hating each other and participating in systems of hatred such as war and commerce, because commerce is also war. War against nature and war against humanity. There can be no love in competition, and money only divides everyone in this system even more. It will never cure the ails that hurt so many, because it is not meant to. Commerce and the monetary, moon-eat-terry hate system is designed to create racism, jealousy, anger, fear, worry, anxiety, starvation, and every other horror that exists on this plan ET. What does war manifest? Money. What does money manifest? War. A snake biting its own tail, and nothing being changed to stop this sick cycle from continuing.
Quite strange how I just mentioned it's like a horror movie, and he mentions that word horror.
This is humanity's one world religion, as shown by the number one definition of the word credit. What is that definition? Believe. It is not an accident that the word prayer has the word payer in it, because we are all paying for the debt of sin, which is the moon, to the ETs of this DK time matrix hologram construct. Do any of the animals look like they need to use money to provide for themselves? No. Only mankind is set up to believe in such a delusory system, because the moon has filled him and her with the emotions of hate and fear. And once everyone goes through the matrix constructs of paradise, and thrown overboard as the lost seamen, again to wait for the moon of Satan, to come and rescue them, it is back to the same earth construct for another spin on the ET Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, looping, being recycled, looping, back here.
Why? The Hebrew word for constellation is shown here, with the first part, galgal, meaning wheel, and the second portion, hamazlat, meaning fortune, luck, chance. Our life is nothing more than a spin on the wheel of fortune of the ET matrix zodiac, which correlates with the Latin neo, for spin, weave. While our energy is being taken from our spines, we are being spun on the zodiac wheel of fortune, where life is all a game of chance. We die to reach the heavenly paradise, to toss the die once again that will tell us when we die in our next game of life. That's our role as we roll another toss after we fall from paradise.
See? All a game, mate. It's all a fucking game and a fucking massive horror fucking movie.
It's the order of things, as the Hebrew seder alludes to with the meaning of order, the new world order of the zodiac, and is shown in the Hebrew term seder hamazlat, or constellations, order of constellations. This is related to the Hebrew term shidra, for spinal column, backbone, and is etymologically connected to the word shizra, for backbone, that is derived from the Hebrew root word as shown, meaning to interweave, intertwine, twist. The Latin neo, that is spun, weaved on the zodiac wheel of fortune, while energy is being sapped from the spinal column to interweave, intertwine, and twist our lives out of shape and in conformity with a demonic agenda to use everyone as energy food slaves. Not only that, if we take the two middle letters from the Hebrew shizra, it would become zer, which means bouquet. Yet with one additional accent, we have the related word zar that translates as alien, foreigner. This connects yet again to the etymology of the word garden that I showed in the previous work, with Avestan and Old Persian zar meaning to harm and ahzara for oppressed. This is their garden, where they mean to harm and oppress every one of us inside of it, to squeeze us mercilessly for every drop of energy that we have. They are the host that is hostile towards us, and the alien force that is treating us horrendously. Even the term host shows this, being derived from the Latin hostis, for army, warlike expedition, and the late Latin hostis, for enemy, foreigner, stranger, and Latin ostia, meaning sacrifice, animal sacrificed. We are sacrificed animals that are taken by the ET false gods who hold us hostage throughout the ages in their alien Garden of Eden.
Wow. The land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine, for ye are strangers and sojournous with me. I'll leave it there, ladies and gents.
The spine is the antenna that receives the electric signals so that we believe this matrix reality to be legitimate.
No,
this is also shown in the Hebrew language, where seder also means message, dispatch, spine. We receive the messages of the matrix through the antenna known as the spine, which also dispatches messages back to the mainframe computer to relay the necessary signals that formulate the code that our brain will then decode in this reality. The spine antenna is our receiver transmitter that sends the electrical signals up to our brain so that the brain can process the code and enable the senses to respond to the input of electrical stimuli that is being sent from the mainframe matrix computer of Saturn. This is shown by the Hebrew word mishosha that translates into English as antenna, aerial, feeler. The spine is the antenna that sends the electrical binary signals that act as our feeler for the five senses in this false reality.
We are more than just flesh and bone. We are more than flesh and bone, mate. Everything's within the spirit, the spiritual, the soul. Tell them we've been fucked over big time, man. I'm going to leave it there, ladies and gents. Let me just see what's coming up now, yeah? Hold on. Yeah, little signals.
As connected with the mainframe computer of Saturn, the Star of David portrays a hexagonal symbol on its north pole, and is further displayed on the flag of Israel, along with many ancient cultures also using the same symbol of Saturn worship. The Hebrew term for hexagonal is mishoshe, which is very closely related to the Hebrew mishosha, and this is furthermore shown by the following word splits. By taking the four letters as shown from the Hebrew mishoshe, we get the pronunciation of mishushe that translates into English as palpation, touch, feeling, showing again that the spine is linked to our senses in this digital decoding matrix hologram construct. By going back to the Hebrew mishoshe and taking out the one letter shin, we are left with mashve, that means equalizer, because the spine is the equalizer between the opposite polarities in our biological positive and negative battery cycle that creates energy for the mainframe computer of Saturn. This forms our reality, as shown by word splitting the Hebrew word as shown down to mishosh, that means reality, palpability. The spine is the great equalizer and neutral mainframe in the human biology that takes the signals being given to it while producing ionic polarized energy, and is in actuality the mark of the beast, or ark of the beast, because it forms the hull of the body ship that acts as our ark, M-ark, to float us through this electrical reality construct. The mark of the beast has always been said to be represented by the number 666, and this would be correct since we can split down the two remaining Hebrew letters of shin to give us shesha, from the original word hexagonal, meaning six, and hexa. When the triad of sixes are multiplied together, we receive the number 216, which is the neutral number in the pentagram circle of charges. $216 is neutral, the pentagrammic fifth element that sees all points in an energy circle, that is also the great zodiac here. It is the all-seeing love, evil eye known as Horus, Eagle, Egyptian red sun, Prince of Peace, that acts as the neutralizer between the polar opposites in this reality, until the end of the 360 degrees of precession have completed themselves, where the phoenix will rise and devour everything into its bill and assimilate all the wisdom that has been acquired throughout the 25,920-year period. In terms of equaling out the opposites, the Baphomet that is 216 reverses the charges so that the flow of the electric current cycle can constantly continue. This is seen by first taking the sacred number of the circle, 72, and adding it to itself 4 more times to achieve the other 4 constituent number points in the pentagrammic 5-pointed star of Baphomet, where we acquire the numbers 72, 144, 216, 288, and 360. Automatically, we see that 216 sits between the other 4 numbers, acting as the intermediary between the positives known as 288 and 360 and the negatives known as 72 and 144. In the math as related to the 4 main cardinal directions of the compass, we could mathematically deduce this by taking 288 positive north, subtracting it by 216 neutral to equal 72 south. The same is true in reverse, where 72 negative south meets neutral 216, has its charge reversed, and 72 plus 216 equals 288. 216 always reverses the charges so that the power of the equations can be met and returned by their opposite counterparts. The math is the same for east to west and west to east. Here is a diagram to display this reversal and continuity of cyclical charges.
I'll leave it here after this. Alright guys. I'll do another one of you know, his name's Shion Last. Shion Last.
216 Baphomet Chronos is not affected by the 32 degrees of the compass rose, since it is the neutral gatekeeper of all 4 directions, and sits underneath it all. Thus, it is able to see all and know all. This is why Osiris is considered to be the god of the underworld who is dead, because neutrality is the dead charge. This is also the basis for the cross of Jesus Christ, who is known as the Prince of Peace, and for the same reason, because neutrality brings peace between the opposite charge polarities. The depiction provided displays the body that is nailed to the cross of the zodiac, symbolizing the fact that it is a fixed aspect, immovable reality. Baphomet.
Good night guys. Hope you enjoyed that. God bless.